Hello, everybody. First and foremost, I just want to thank you for taking time out, not just to view this webinar, but taking time out to put yourself first. So, congratulations. Thank you for showing up for you today. I'd really like to make sure that we all get an opportunity to kind of make this webinar as much as yours as it is for me. Okay, so please interact with me in the comment bar. If I ask questions, feel free to just jump in there with whatever comes to your mind first, because I want to make this webinar uniquely for you, but I can only make it uniquely for you if you interact with me. All right. We're going to wait a few more minutes because I want to give everybody an opportunity to log on. I know that some of us run a little bit behind, and I just want to give that space for people to log on before we get started. We will be starting right on time, right at 6 o'clock. And I will make sure that I end on time as well because I respect your time. All right. So while we're waiting, go ahead and get started. Type it in the polls. If you can write it in the comment section where you're from and what is one of your health concerns? Ah, yeah, okay. Oh, great, great, great. All right, so we've got some people from Southport, we got some people from Carmel, we got some people from the South Side, from the East Side, Lebanon. Great, all over the city. Okay, excellent. All right, diabetes, cancer, stress. Yeah, yeah. We're going to be able to talk about all these things. We're going to talk about a way to see ourselves in all these different places. Thank you so much for sharing. All right, so it is exactly 6 o'clock. So we're going to go get started today. Um, as you can see, I have a little quote up on the screen right now. Now, I like this quote because I think it's important to understand that it's not enough for you to just have information, right? Like I can sit here and give you information until I'm blue in the face. But until you start making actions, until you move that information into behavior, you're not going to see a change in your life. You're not going to see a change in the world around you. Just hoarding information is not good enough. So please keep in mind as we move forward and as I tell you more and more information that this is more of a call to action than it is just a gathering information. I want you to take steps towards living a more full and more healthy and more happy life. All right, so this presentation is going to be about stress hormones and immunity. Now, you don't know me. So let me tell you a little bit about me and a little bit about the company that I have created. So I've created a company called Enlightened Healing. And this name is really important to me because I took a lot of painstaking hours and times developing a program that was enlightened, not just good, but informative and helpful and direct and specific. What I found in my practice as a marriage and family therapist is that the vague ideal of things that is often thrown out there as, how you should live your life was just too vague. People needed specific direction about what needed to come next, where they needed to go next, who they needed to speak to next. And I felt like in the development of this program that I really paid attention to that and I focused on, okay, not just like, what do you do today, but what are you going to do tomorrow and the next day and the next day after that, right? So it's a very detailed program. And the effort to keep you from getting lost and losing your way in the middle of it, right? I I expect that I'm going to be sharing through information that you're not currently aware of, that will be new to you. And I don't want you to miss any of it. So please, please put away all your distractions. Put your cell phone away, turn off your TV, put the kiddos to sleep. Stay here. Just stay focused for about 45 minutes. I'm going to make sure that what I give you is good. Promise. All right. So if you're here today, I can assume you're here because there's something in your life that's dissatisfactory, right? That something is not meeting up to the standards that you would like it to be. And I believe I have a lot of answers on why those standards are not being met and how we can change it. Like I said, I'm going to give you this information, but this is a call to action. It's not enough for you to just have information. You've got to be willing to take steps to actually change your life as well. And if you're not ready to take the steps to change your life, then yeah, this isn't the webinar for you. But if you're sick and you're tired of being sick and tired, this is the right place for you, because this is where you're going to begin to make a change. Today's the first day of the rest of your life. What do you want to do with them? I want to start by having a serious conversation. A lot of people ask me, why did I start this? Like, why would I start building a program that helps people in such a specific way, unique, individualized programs to encourage people to have healthier, happier lives? The truth is, I've always had a desire to help other people, but it really didn't solidify until it hit home, and I had tragedy in my own life. You see, a few years ago, my grandmother died. And yes, that's really sad, but that wasn't the hardest part. You see, after her death, my father, the mother, um, my grandmother's son, my father became extremely depressed and his health started failing. And it seemed like it was just one problem after another. Every time he went to go see a doctor, a different doctor, they would have a different pill or a different workout program or a different doctor that he'd have to see. And it was just a perpetual thing. And my father, who I had always known to be this lively, vibrant, loud, boisterous, wonderful person, was now a shell of himself. He barely spoke, he barely left the house. He was not engaging with us, with his grandchildren. He wasn't living his life because he was always sick and he was always tired. And you see this image of this woman with all these pills. This is remnants of what my father was going through. He'd wake up every morning and he'd have a slew of pills to take in order to get him started for the day, and then he'd have a slew of pills to take in order to let him go to sleep at the end of the day. And it just wasn't a sustainable life. And I just refused to just accept that that's the way it had to be, that he was going to live the rest of his days like this. I decided right then and there that I was going to figure out a way to change this. I was going to get the right information, and not only get the right information, but make the right moves to help my father live a full life again. So I talked to nutritionists, I talked to physicians, I talked to um, homeopathic practitioners, I talked to workout specialists. I talked to all these people in order to create something that was actually helpful and, more importantly, sustainable in a person's life. So if you're like Rachel here, Rachel came to me um, believing that Rachel, yeah, Rachel came to me believing that this was the last effort, right? Like, she didn't have a lot of high hopes that she was going to get something with working with my program or working with me. And she definitely didn't have a lot of confidence in herself. She was sick. She had Crohn's disease. She was sick and she was in pain all the time. And she had a slew of responsibilities. And quite literally in the first session, she was like, I don't know what you can do for me, but I really need you to change my life. And I think, I think we accomplished that. I might not be able to go in and change the elements in your life, but I definitely can help you change the way you participate in your life, which will change how your life feels for you, right? You know, this COVID pandemic, one of the biggest things that people have really discovered about themselves during this world changing epidemic is that they had been settling. they've been settling most of their life. They have been settling with pain. They have been settling with discomfort. They've been settling with illness and disease. They had been settling because it was okay to just barely get by, because there was enough pills to barely get by. But this pandemic walked in the door and just changed everything, where if you were already sick, this was no longer something you should just settle for, because it was life threatening. It was a life sentence if you were already sick. 133 million cases of COVID disease for people with previous chronic illness. 90% of the cases, previous chronic illnesses. Settling is a death sentence in the age of the pandemic. This country, the US, spends $3.5 trillion in healthcare. And yet, we are 37 out of 40 of developed countries. 37 out of 40. We spend all this money, and you're telling me we're still ranked the bottom percentage? Why? Why is this the case? Honestly, here's an opportunity. Tell me in the chat box, why do you think we live in a country that spends so much money on healthcare and yet has so little to call for it? Any ideas? Yeah, I got the little slide up there. It's lacking information, wrong information. Some of you are like both of that, all of that. Yes, I agree. Absolutely. It's time for you to wake up. Settling is not the answer. You have the right, matter of fact, you have the responsibility to demand more, both from your healthcare and from yourself. Why are you settling? Because settling could mean a life sentence for you. Not doing more, not stepping up to do more for yourself, could mean that you leave your family without someone like you just to help and support them. I tell you about my wake up call, seeing my father deteriorate the way he was, seeing him turn from this vibrant person to this shell of a person. That was my wake up call. What's going to be your wake up call? Because I wanted to see my father enjoy seeing his grandchildren grow. And he was not headed down that road. He was accepting whatever the doctors and insurance said that they would pay for, as that's all he could do. And by accepting whatever they gave him, whatever they said he should do, he actually was just keeping himself in that system. Now, don't get me wrong, I do believe that there are very doctors out there that give very good information. But the problem is that if you, as a patient, are not being proactive, are not seeking the right kind of information, are not doing what you can to eliminate risk factors, to find underlying causes for issues, or to help your physician find underlying causes. By the way, again, not settling, we're just like, oh, you're this is what's wrong with you, but asking for more, digging more. Why is this what's wrong with me? How did this happen? Where did this come from? Not asking these questions and not working on yourself to increase your both your mentality and your immune system, then you are still staying in the system of settling and accepting a life that's less than what you deserve. Let me tell you a little bit about the program. Some of the most important pieces that I found was necessary to help people move from just being a part of the system to actually being participants in their own health and their own growth was nutrition that couples with detox, hormones, fitness, and mentorship. Now, you already know that I'm a mental health therapist. So you might be asking, like, how are you doing all of this within your program? I'm gonna tell you this. Without all of this, it's just another run of the run program. If I didn't have all these extra elements, you wouldn't be getting anything extra from me than you would from any other therapist, right? It's because I've gone above and beyond to do the research, to work with individuals to really look at underlying causes, underlying problems, where the levels are, that we are able to actually make long lasting, permanent changes in people's lives. Okay, I said sorry. Again, it's not enough that you have the information. It's not enough that you know that those are the elements that are going to help you have sustainable change in your life. You have to move from knowing something to acting on something. You have to be a participant in your own healthcare. You have to be a participant in your own life. So, let me tell you a little bit about why I believe that the system is not working. It's designed to be reactive, not to be proactive. It's also designed to line the pockets of pharmaceutical companies and insurance companies. It's not designed with your health and your progress in mind. It's designed with the bottom line and the dollars that you bring to people's house, bring to these companies' homes. Oftentimes, what I find is patients go into a doctor's office and it'd be like going into a dealership and showing them all the lights that are on in their car and them just turning off the lights instead of actually treating the symptoms, treating what's happening to the car, right? No, you don't see any lights go off, right? So everything must be working fine. But everything is not working fine, right? All you did was treat the symptoms. All you did was turn off the check engine light, and you didn't actually check the engine or figure out why the check engine light is on in the first place. This is not a good enough, people. It's not enough to just pretend like the lights don't exist. If you continue to move forward in your life without actually addressing this root cause of what's causing your symptoms, you are not going to get far in life. Just like your car wouldn't get far if you never actually fix the issues in the car. You have to take time, you have to stop, and you have to ask the real questions. Why is this happening to me? This is a true statement right out of the Medicaid program. You know, preventive medicine is not medically necessary. That's what they say. Protecting you from ever getting sick is not important. Treating you after you're already sick, that's where the money is. But if I don't do what I have to do to protect you before you get sick, then do I truly care about you? So, are you willing to do something different? Are you willing to get out of this never ending cycle of medication and treatment for symptoms without dealing with actual issues or preventing issues? If you are ready, then here's a call. I want you to be like Chloe here, who was just amazed of what it took to go from being an observer of information to being a doer of this information, and how it had an instant transformation in her life. It wasn't something that was easy, but it was something that had a pretty quick um, turnaround, a pretty quick response for you, because that's what it takes when you start making these actual behavior changes and these actual um, looking at these actual steps that it takes to improve your health and improve your life. You will notice that this the change in you and how you feel happens pretty quickly. What's your why? Why do you want to have a fuller life? Is it your children? Is it your work passion? Is it your just living a more full life and being able to have adventures, being able to travel, being able to interact with people? Is it just being able to sleep a full night without feeling like you have to use the bathroom 5 or 6 times, or feeling like you can't sleep at all because your brain won't stop racing, right? What is your why? What is the reason why you want a better life? Tired, sluggish, fatigue, can't focus throughout the day, can't make it through all the chores and the obstacles and the tasks that you have to take care of. Like, how many of us come home from a day of work and see our children and think, I would love to play with my children. I would love to hang out with them and teach them something or do something with them. But I'm so exhausted. And by the way, I still have this to do and that to and that to do. And who suffers with that? Who suffers with that ideology? Bowel difficulties. Now, I'm gonna get a little personal, but if you are not pooping every day, can you just put up one hand in the comment section if you're not having a regular poop? Thank you so much for being brave enough to put it out there. Yes, yes. Oh, so many people struggle with having regular bowel movements. And you might think that this is a little thing, but your gut health is um extremely important to your general health and your ability to show up in your life. Depression. Now, depression gets such a bad rap, but it quite literally is your body's way of telling you you are sick and you need to take better care of yourself. It's one of the first things your body likes to do, your mind likes to do for you, is to give you this sense of like, it's time for you to sit down and slow down and just not do anything for a little while. You know, the way depression makes you feel. It's just that overwhelming message to say, you need to do better. We are struggling here. This body, this vessel is struggling here, and we need to do something different. Anxiety. Anxiety is one of those emotions that's like, I don't know what is going on. I don't know where I'm going or where I'm trying to go, where I'm trying to stay. And it can be overwhelming. It can be debilitating. But if you have the right information and you're taking the right steps, we can reduce anxiety. We can reduce the need for anxiety to show up for you in the first place. Now, I talked about this earlier, but like I said, just the ability to sleep throughout the night, to fall asleep, to stay asleep, to wake up feeling refreshed, that should be natural. And if you're not being able to do that 90% of the time, then something is not right in the way that you're taking care of yourself. And we need to make drastic changes sooner rather than later. Sleep is one of the most imperative functions of your life. It's not an option, it's a necessity. So if you're not taking steps to take care of yourself, to make sure that you get the right sleep, you can expect your whole entire body to have a reaction to that. Have you noticed fluctuations in your weight or weight that you can't seem to lose? Don't believe the hype that it's just your age. You've hit the 30s, you hit the 40s, you hit the 50s, and that's just what you have to deal with. There's too much evidence out there that proves that it's nothing about just the age that you are that makes the weight show up and stay. It's the lifestyle that you live, it's the way you live that makes the weight show up and stay. Mood swings, emotional. Find yourself being really, really short with people or unable to tolerate and be patient with anybody in your life. That could be a health issue and not just a personality issue. Don't believe the hype. It's not because you're cranky because you're old. You're cranky because you're not well. A lot of people don't realize that you can go to the doctor and get the lab test done, and they will say that everything came back normal, right? But normal is more of a bell curve. It's more of like a general statement. You could be in normal ranges, but still be high in the normal ranges, meaning that you're on your way to having an issue. But just like I talked about with that Medicaid statement, because we're not in the business of preventive care, I am not going to do anything about those higher ranges, those ranges that are starting to peak towards actually having a problem. I'm just going to tell you that everything's normal. There is no treatment and prevention. There's no money in prevention. There's money in treating you after you already have a problem. So don't just accept, hey, everything is normal. You need to ask for the actual results because we need to see, okay, what's normal but high? What's still in the good range, but heading towards something that could be preventable. You can only do that if you dig a little deeper and not just accept what is given to you. An example would be testosterone. You know, the average range for testosterone is between 200 and 800. That is crazy. 200 and 800 is a huge gap. Yet all of that's considered normal. But if your testosterone is about 250, that means you're only really on the low side and you're heading towards having a serious issue. And if your testosterone is above 650, it actually means that you're on the high side and you're heading towards having a different kind of issue. Same thing with cortisones. Cortisone is one of the biggest contributors to your sleep issues, right? If you're having sleep issues, it's probably got to do with cortisone. Yet you could be in normal ranges for cortisone and be extremely high, and that could be the reason why you're having so much sleep issues. Simple adjustment in your dietary plan that could improve how you sleep, but might not be discussed in your doctor's office because it's normal. Normal doesn't mean healthy. And normal definitely doesn't mean there's not issues that are related to those numbers. So, these is the list of a couple diseases, a couple illnesses. Which ones do you have? Check me in the box if you have anything that looks like one of these diseases. Which ones have you been tested for, been told that you are already in the bad zone for it? Okay, I see adrenaline, stress. I see, oh yes, gastro issue. Lots of stomach issues come up in this. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. All of these diseases that I listed, underlining cause for all of them is stress. Oh, that scary word, stress. Everyone is worried about stress. Let me tell you a little bit about stress. It is not just, well, my 3-year-old won't get out of my workspace while I'm trying to work and her father is not around to get her. That is not the only kind of stress that's out there. There's also physical stress. Injuries that you know, injuries that you put your body through regular exercise, or injuries that you've had through some sort of incident. There's chemical stress from the things that we ingest and the things that we're prescribed. And then, of course, there's emotional stress. You know, that boss that gets on your nerves, or those kids that won't go to sleep at night. How can we do what it takes to reclaim our health? I talked about this earlier. It's not enough for you to just have the information. You have to be active. You have to take action. You have to be proactive. Before there is an issue, you have to be willing to take the steps to figure out what is causing issues or what could cause an issue. Eliminate risk factors, look at underlying effects, boost our immune system, and minimize stress. We have to be active in our healthcare, active in our mental health care, and active in our lives if we want to see a life that is worth living. And go back to these 5 pillars that I discussed earlier. These are the areas that we will start in as far as changing your life for the better: nutrition detox, hormone, fitness, and mentorship. Now, mentorship being the number one thing that's going to help you stay focused on the road. I'm going to give you the pieces that you need to know. I'm going to give you the information that you need to know, but I'm also going to challenge you on a regular basis to stay focused on your care or putting yourself first and having that fuller life. I'm not going to let you fail yourself. That's my goal, is to make sure that when you show up and you work with me, that we are successful together. So, detox. Now, everybody gets scared about detox. They think I'm going to give them this drink and that they're not going to be able to eat carbs ever again. Detox is a simpler process. That the most important point of detox is to clean out that gut. Gut health is extremely important to life. Gut health is how we manage our emotions. Gut health is how we manage our body. Gut health is important. So we always want to start with dealing with our gut. The majority of your immune system is being processed through your gut, and all your brain health is being dealt with your gut. So this is why gut health is so important. Of course, nutrition, what we put in our body. When they say you are what you eat, it's not a joke. If you are eating nothing but processed food and high calories, high salt content, high sugar content, then you can expect that your body is suffering because it doesn't have anything of high nutrition to help it keep functioning. You have to eat the food to feed your body for the activity that you're asking from it. Fitness. If you are not getting regular movement, you're not getting enough circulated high oxygenated blood to your brain. That means you're not functioning at your highest level of capacity. Fitness is not good, not just for the vanity of having a body that is slim and trim or whatever you think you're looking for. Fitness is imperative for brain health, gut health, and body health. You've got to get your body moving, joints rotating if you want to prevent them from being easily bruised, easily brittle, or failing without cause. Hormones. Your hormone levels are essential. Remember I showed you that graph where the normal ranges are and how vast those normal ranges are? Knowing what your hormone levels are extremely important to developing a healthy plan to move forward, to prevent issues from happening, to prevent things like estrogen issues, adrenaline issues, thyroid issues, and liver issues, and to bring issues that have already come to the surface back down to normal ranges. If we don't know what your hormone levels are, if we're not checking on those on a regular basis, then we can't expect to be able to make informed decisions about what is best for you. And like I said, mentorship. If I gave you a book about flying a plane today, do you think next week you'll be ready to fly a plane? Probably not. Before I'd put you in the pilot seat, I'll put you in the co-pilot seat. And I will show you step by step on how you do the things that we talked about. Like I said, it's not enough for you to just have the information. You got to be willing to do the action. And it's hard to do the action if you don't really know what it's supposed to look like. So that's why you need, and that's why you have a mentor in our program in order to keep you going in the steps that works best for you. So you can fly that plane on your own one day. Once we put it all together, you have a system that is almost guaranteed to work every time. The biggest component that keeps it from working is you. You're not showing up to put in the effort, to put in the time, to put in the work. If you're not serious about changing your life so that it is for the better, whether your life is great now, but you just want to see it that much better, or your life is struggling right now and you want to get better, this is a program that will help you develop that. I could tell you till I'm blue in the face, and maybe you'll remember me. I could show you by demonstrating it in my own life, and maybe you'll remember it. But until I involve you, that's when you'll actually understand it, right? When you're actually in the midst of it and you get to go through the steps right beside me, that's when you're going to understand, that's why it's effective. And this is what it feels like when I have a life worth living. So, can you change your future? Well, of course you can change your future. My question is, are you ready to change your future? Are you ready to have a life that you've always imagined having? Are you ready to be your ideal self? Time to get started. Stop procrastinating. Stop waiting for the answer to fall into your lap and do all the work for you. It's time for you to go ahead and step up, take the answers for yourself, and make the work happen. If you're ready to take those steps, if you're ready to move from just knowing information to actually using information and having a full and active life, please click on the box. It's in the link in the chat as well, where you can set up a 15-minute call. This 15-minute call is not purchasing anything. It is completely free. It is just an opportunity for us to decide together if this program is going to be the best fit for you. I'm going to give you some further details about how the program works and the expectations. And we're going to discuss together whether or not you are ready to have a life worth living, whether or not you are ready to be your ideal self. And we can move forward. So, I'm excited. If you have any questions, concerns, please put them in the chat. I'm so excited to work with you in the future. Please give me a call or check in the chat box and schedule a 15-minute call so that we can get together and help change your life for the better. Hope to see you soon. Take care.
Hi.